Hey guys, this is episode 8 of the Athlete Next Door podcast by SDA Athletics or Strong Dad Apparel. While I'm here on a family vacation to Spokane, I get to meet up with Zach Price. So Zach has been on the podium and even top 5 in some of the best shows that America even has to offer. So how's it feel when you hear that out loud?
Oh man, it's been such a long journey for me that, I mean, to be at where I'm at now, I don't think I ever, it was always a dream of like getting to compete against some of the strongest guys in the world.
Yeah.
But to be actually doing it now and to have, kind of gotten to a higher level of strength the way that I am now, I think it just, sometimes it feels surreal, because it was always something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think in the beginning, I ever fully believed I could do that.
Yeah,
So.
You got family watching you on live streams now.
Yeah.
I'm sure that feels good.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I've got such a great support system. My parents are always watching from home.
Yeah.
Whenever we do the Rainier every year, my grandma actually lives in Puyallup, so she'll come and watch. My brother lives over there too. He'll come and watch. So
That's awesome.
It's awesome to have a support system the way that I do.
All right, I always have my cheat sheet with me. So we're going to start it off slow, or start from the beginning. So let's talk about sports starting in your childhood and then building up to your pro card.
Okay.
So how did it start as a kid in sports?
So, as far back as I can remember, I started with soccer. So I was playing the SYSA, I think, soccer at the time.
Yeah, I know
If that sounds right. But,
AYSO maybe?
yeah, I think it was SYSA.
That's the one I played.
What I'm remembering. Yeah, so I was playing soccer as a kid. My brother was also a soccer player, so I kind of followed in his footsteps there and, basically built my athletic base playing soccer. And then from there, I got into middle school and I got really interested in playing football. And I kind of got an opportunity. I had a coach that helped pay for my entry into the football team. And so I got to play football 7th and 8th grade, and it just totally changed my perspective on sports. It was like,
That's awesome.
Got to beat up on people for free without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And so, then from there, is where kind of the lifting journey took off.
Yeah.
And
As a way to supplement what you were enjoying with football?
yeah, I mean, I was never like a really big kid to begin with. I was always a little bit chubbier,
Yep.
I was always a little heavier set guy.
Typical
but
strongman childhood.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I feel like most of us for sure started that way. But, it basically, football got me into the gym. And by the time I was a freshman, there was starting to be like talks about like, hey, we want you to be on varsity the next year, and it was like, all right, I got to start pushing. So I was like, just going to the gym every single day, benching, squatting, taking creatine, protein powders, doing everything I could to put on muscle at the time and strength. And it ended up working out for me, and I got, my varsity start as a sophomore.
What school did you go to? Was it a small school? Was it big? Is it out of here in Spokane?
Yeah, so I went to Shadle Park High School, and we were a 3A high school when I was playing.
Okay.
So it wasn't like we were playing against the 4As here in the GSL in Spokane. My first varsity start as a sophomore, man, we had it was just a year of just absolute monsters. I mean, there were so many guys from that year from other teams around the GSL that went on to play in, really big Division I programs and then on to the league. And so I just remember I was about 225 soaking wet when I first went out on the field.
Yeah.
And, at that point as a sophomore, it was like, all right, you just got to hold your own.
Yeah.
So I was doing everything I could to get into guys. But, having the strength as a base that I had built from the years previously, that kind of helped. I wasn't the biggest guy, but I was strong enough to keep up with everybody. So, having that base of strength is like, okay, if I keep getting stronger, then that's going to make me a better athlete. And I just, to be honest, it was like I loved football, but I fell so in love with the process of getting stronger.
Yeah.
That it was like, okay, man, I can bench 225. Let's see if I can do 245.
Yeah.
And it just kept going from there,
Yeah,
so.
it's a rite of passage.
Oh, for sure.
Especially in the football, high school football culture.
Yeah.
In a way.
Right.
Cool. Then after high school, what happened then?
So after high school, so I will say before high school got over, I actually did my first ever powerlifting meet actually going into my senior year of high school.
Oh, cool.
So that was kind of my first ever introduction into like strength sports, you know, like as a competitor, as a competitive strength athlete. And so, you know, I did my first powerlifting meet, went back to football that year, and then went on and played a year of college football. And, you know, college football for me, it was like, I was a decent football player, but when I got to the next level, I just realized, you know, I wasn't going to quite be good enough to keep going forward in that journey. So I started focusing even when I was at that year in college, really focusing on like my strength journey.
Yeah.
So I was in the gym a lot. I was, you know, doing a lot of like Olympic lifting, my base of powerlifting that I had kind of built. And then from there, came back home and I just went straight back into powerlifting basically. So,
did the strength program at college affect you differently than what you were already doing with high school?
You know, what's interesting was I kind of felt like the strength for like an athlete wasn't as transitional into like being a strength athlete, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, we were doing a lot of things basically to maintain our bodies, maintain our strength levels throughout the season, but it was never like, all right, let's see what we can bench, squat. It was a lot more like functional training, which has its place and its purpose, but I was so much more interested. I mean,
so they're more injury prevention.
Yeah. And kind of a funny story from actually when I was at Central was I had a truck, just an old like Mazda truck, and the guys used to kind of like poke fun at me. I developed a nickname. They used to start calling me Deadlift when I was playing football. And so I'd be walking around the school, everyone would call me Deadlift because I always had weights in the back of my truck. So I'd like, you know, break out the weights and do like curls and, you know, tricep extension, you know, whatever I could do. I had like little tires and all sorts of different stuff. But like I was just so fascinated by like getting stronger. I think that like at that point I had kind of already moved on from football, and I was really starting to like get used to the idea of like, okay, what it would be like to, you know, be a strongman someday. And you know, I had always been into strongman, but that was really where it started like taking off for me, where it's like, all right, let's see what like I could do in the strength sport.
That's where you see the biggest feats come out of. So if you're driven to that, you just naturally follow along with it.
For sure.
That's cool, dude. And then after that, you got into strongman after college, or?
Yeah, so went back home and I did a couple years of powerlifting. So I powerlifted in the USAPL. So I did, I'm trying to remember the exact meets, but I mean, I did some meets around town. I ended up doing the USAPL state championships in Tacoma. And then I just realized it was like, after a couple powerlifting meets, I was like, man, this is boring. I mean, I love lifting, but like, you get so in this rudimentary, like, you know, you get so used to just squat, bench, and deadlift that it was like, okay, you know, I can get really good at squat, bench, and deadlifts, but I'm watching all these other guys now on YouTube, and, you know, they're lifting stones and logs and pulling trucks, and, you know, and actually as a kid, they have the Empire Classic here in Strongman, or sorry, they have the Empire Classic here. It's a bodybuilding show, and at the time they had a strongman show. And I wish I could remember who it was that put it on, but they had such a cool show that they were putting on at the casino, and they were pulling trucks, they were lifting stones. There were some serious competitors at it. And so I kind of thought back to that time and like, man, that would be cool to do. So from there, I think the first show I ever did was Grant Higa's show, Washington Strongest Apple. And I believe it was at Gig Harbor, and it was just such a fun experience. I mean, I want to say I competed in like the 265-pound division, so just under that, and I ended up taking second and just kind of got bit by the strongman bug from there. You know? It was like, okay, I can take second at a show like this, like, you know, and I just went straight into open from there. So.
That's awesome. You know, that's funny. That reminds me, like when I told you a story, like with my first novice comp, you know, if you would, that's the thing, if you would have got first in it, it doesn't drive you as much as second place would have. You know, you show up to your first comp, you get second, there's nothing bigger of a drive than that.
And I have gotten really good at taking second and third. I haven't been the best guy at taking first, but man, I have gotten really good at taking second and third.
That's great,
So, you know, it was a motivating experience, and to know that, like, man, I'm strong, but there's so many other guys out there that are just as strong. Like,
Yeah.
it just made me want to push myself even more.
Yeah, and I've told people about that, when I originally started in like a commercial gym, people want to tell you, oh, you're really strong. It's like, for this, you go to a strongman comp, you're like, all right, I do have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And that's such a good feeling, because you adjust to whatever you have.
Yeah.
So then tell me how you first got your pro card, and was it USS or was it Strongman Corp?
So technically, I think that USS would have been I never actually received a pro card, but I was told that like winning I did Black Frost Pro in 23, I want to say. It was either 22 or 23. And I won that show, so I'm pretty sure technically that would have gotten me my USS Pro card. But I kind of just at that point, I was just doing that show for fun. I mean, I was just kind of testing myself against other guys in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so like what really led me to my pro card was like my journey with the Rainier. So I started my first ever Rainier was the second year they did it. So it would have been 2022. And I believe it would have been...
Because this was the 5th.
Yeah.
So it would have been 2020 was their first one then, right?
2020... Was it the 5th?
Because I think they had 5th on their shirt.
Okay.
I think it had a 5 on it.
Yeah. So it would have been the second year that 21? I did it. Yeah, maybe it was 21. So I took 7th at that show, and that was kind of like my real... That was my first ever like actual like pro-am show.
Pro-am.
So I think the Black Frost Pro had actually came after that one.
Okay.
But that was my first ever attempt at like, all right, let's see what I can do. That was coming off of Oregon Strongest Man, and I had kind of taken a break out of Strongman, so just for, I guess, story purposes was, in 2019 I won Oregon Feats of Strength, which was my first ever open heavyweight show or win. And then I took a break from there, kind of focused on life, but I came back and did Oregon Strongest Man with Jasper Haney, and we were just neck and neck for that show. He ended up winning by a point or two, and then...
Was that the 23?
Yeah, that was 23. So
that
actually
was my
it would
first.
have been...
That was my first comp.
Or no, I'm sorry, that would have been 22.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
But yeah, seeing you there, I was like, oh wow, these are the big people here.
Yeah, yeah.
It was intimidating, but here we are.
Yeah, and so,
drinking apple juice for YouTube purposes.
Yeah, just apple juice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, I mean, Oregon Strongest Man led me to the Rainier because I saw that, Jasper had told me about it, and I was like, well, I think I could do that too.
Yeah.
And so I ended up taking 7th at that show, and it was just like, I want to say a rude awakening for me because it was like, man, I thought I was strong. I was kind of like a little bit cocky with myself, and then I just kind of got stuck. I mean, I did good at a lot of events, and it put things in perspective for me. Like, okay, if I just practice a little bit more, I get some more implements, then I think I can do really well. And so I ended up coming back the next year, and that was the year that I won my pro card, taking second to, I believe it was Josh Hatfield, and then Jasper Haney took 3rd behind me.
It's cool to see those guys still around, just as much as you are in it.
Oh, man. I mean, and Josh was a guy that I had looked up to for a long time in the sport, Jasper as well, but, Josh has been competing for so long. I think I'd been, following him on social media, watching his stuff, and, Josh is just such a guy. He's such a strong guy that, like, should have gotten more opportunities, in my opinion. And, it's really tough when you're coming out of, the Pacific Northwest. We forget that in strongman a lot of the times, like, you kind of got to have a name behind yourself to get yourself into some of these bigger shows.
I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, those are a few people I'd be excited to meet. I eventually will.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is so much strength in the Northwest, which is pretty wild. I don't see, I don't know, maybe just because I'm pretty biased with having Dungeon, strength out of Washington. It kind of helps put a lot more on the map up here, which maybe just motivates and pulls more people in.
Oh man, for sure.
In our area.
Yeah, I mean, Dungeon has been such a big, they've really been at the forefront of strength over there for so long, and they kind of took the reins from guys like Jesse Morende and Grant Higa. And, so it was, I mean, it's really cool to go over to the other side of the state because here in Spokane, it's like, we don't really have much in terms of
cut off,
strongman.
yeah.
We've always had the Empire, which has kind of been like a small strongman show for people to do, and I think at one point it might have been a little bit bigger, to be honest, than it is now.
Your next closest would be like anything Mike Cromer does in Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
At Impact.
Yep. Yeah, so there's always been like stragglers of strength over here.
Yeah.
But for me getting into the sport, it was like, I had to get my own log. I had to get my own farmers. There were guys that kind of took me, to their like garage gyms, let me train with them from time to time.
Yeah.
But it was always like guys that were more hobbyists of strongman, and I always had the vision of like, I really think that I could be actually good at this sport.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man.
But yeah, so I mean, my first ever Pro-Am podium would have been the Rainier, the
That's
23
awesome.
year.
So then you're saying you bought a lot of your own strongman equipment. So you were doing that in a commercial, because I know now you're in a large commercial gym that actually has the area for that, though.
Yep. Yeah.
And you have equipment there that's yours. So.
Yep. Yeah. So for a long time, I was just kind of, before I had my own house, I was just kind of like building little, buying little things like a log, farmers,
Yeah.
I still have some like really old strength shop equipment that was like, we kind of joke with my log, we call it the chode log because it's like a 13-inch log. So it's like so thick and short. And it was like, I trained on that thing basically up until like North America's Strongest Man.
That's wild because, the Slater logs, they got so much rotating mass at the end.
Yep.
So I'm sure that throws you off.
I feel like it made me really good at cleaning the log because it was just like such a harder log to get around, clean up to the chest. But yeah, I was training on that log all the way up until North America's Strongest Man.
Maybe that's the trick.
Well, and then Chris ended up buying that Rogue log, and that's where I really felt like I could kind of push myself a little bit when he got that log in the gym.
And he has his pro card?
Chris doesn't have his pro card yet. No,
he's up there in strength though.
He's up there, yeah. So he's really getting. I think he's like right at the cusp of like.
You guys are the best, like for strongman wise, out of Spokane, probably the two.
Yeah, and Chris was
same gym.
Yeah, I kind of found Chris because he's big on TikTok and stuff, and I had been following him on TikTok, and I had no idea that he lived over here. Yeah. And I saw he was posting some strongman stuff, and I was like, oh man, I got to get this guy to come train with me.
Yeah.
When I saw that he lived over in this area, so I was like. I think actually the year that I did win my pro card, I had Chris come into my garage, and that was back when I was still training out of my garage pretty much full time. So, we were basically just making do with the equipment we have. Chris and I have some really funny videos of us, like the year that I did win the pro card, we had the bike into sandbag event.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up picking up this just old piece of shit like fan bike that for some reason it held up with both me and Chris's fat ass just sitting on this fucking bike, just
bolted down.
Oh, I don't know how it survived that, but we basically, myself, and then when Chris started coming and training with me and his friend Taryn, like we basically just got by with like what we had.
Yep.
And so, for over the years, it was just like buying, and I actually kind of took this advice from Jasper at one point, but he was just like, buy what you can buy, like focus on what the next show is, and if you can buy a piece of equipment for that show, and then by the time you're competing, 5-6 years, you're going to have everything that you need.
Yeah, I had gathered a lot of equipment, and then I ended up trading it away, a bunch of it where, for a coach I had for a little bit, to use his gym and for coaching. Yeah. I didn't want to spend money, so like here, you can have this much of my strongman equipment in your gym that you like to borrow anyways.
Yep.
And in return, we get this. I didn't mind at the time, but now I'm back to my home gym. Like, I want my axle, again.
Oh, man.
And I want, I still have like my Husafel. I have jerk blocks that are really beautiful, jerk stands, really beautiful ones I picked up, and
something
I want to get some kegs that I have.
We've been wanting jerk blocks for so long. I'm like, that's got to be the next thing I think that we get.
It was a marketplace find. The guy welded it. That's
awesome.
$175.
Wow.
And I drove 2 hours with my truck to go pick it up, because it was 2 hours away. It was Hillsboro, so it was Hillsboro, Oregon. So it's about 2 hours from me. I'm like. I can't say no to that. The Rogue ones are like $4,500 to get the Rogue, but they're adjustable. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pay $175 for these.
Yeah,
They're stronger.
That is a steal of a deal because the guy
he was like
definitely
roll
paid
cage
more to,
metal,
like,
and he welded it.
Oh yeah,
he built them.
You know, he probably paid like $300-400 just for the metal for that.
His buddy helped make it for him because the guy that I bought it from, he coaches high school and middle school athletes in Olympic weightlifting.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I think his buddy kind of did him a favor, and so in return he just gave it away cheap.
That's cool.
It was a marketplace for a while because it's super niche.
Yeah.
Like,
are they adjustable at all, or is
No.
it just one height?
it's one height, but you
You
can
can always
put
put
stuff
like
underneath.
pads or something. And,
Yeah, you can just cut some plywood squares and metric it up from there. But it's so heavy, I couldn't carry it myself.
oh, jeez.
Each one, so they're not moving.
That's a good sign.
They're built so they are stable enough. The Rogue ones rock sometimes,
Yeah.
but these ones, they're by far the strongest ones I've ever seen.
You said they're solid steel.
So it's like they used, reminds me of like a roll cage in a car.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
it's a bigger. I think it's like the same because he also gave me farmer sandals for free with it. So it's like the 2-inch steel.
And you got farmer's handles on it. Wow, that's awesome.
2 sets of. I got 4
Yeah.
farmer sandals.
See, there's
They're end
always-
load. But
The thing
still.
I've learned about strongman, there's always somebody out there that
Yeah.
has just gotten so frustrated with the sport.
Yeah.
They're gonna sell all their shit off for basically free.
He was trying to do it to help the Olympic kids, like, learn a little bit more, but they weren't liking it, so he just gave it away. I'm
No,
like,
that's I mean, there's so many guys that get into strongman and they're kind of in it, and out of it just as quick. So it's like, but they get obsessed, and that's where I've gotten a lot of my equipment too. Is like just little like Facebook. Like I think I picked up my yoke for like $200, and it's just a guy that kind of got into it over here for a second and then got right out of it. And,
Same. I just paid $150 for my yoke. It's the shorter height Titan one.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I don't need it to be taller.
Yeah, and just for me, I mean, just over the years, it was just like, just build what you can build. I mean, I don't, I work a blue collar job, so I'm not making bank, but it's like I'm making enough to make ends meet, and spend a little bit of money here and there on equipment, and I do like to live more of an expensive lifestyle, so I got to tone that down a little bit sometimes with the strongman stuff. But I mean,
you see the unique stuff. And I mean, the amount of people that tell me they want to buy my hammers, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to save up for that." I'm like, "If you want to."
Well, and they're kind of like irreplaceable to you, because it's like, man, I put so much. You don't really think about just the price, but it's like the time and energy and all the, I mean, I don't think I could ever sell my equipment, to be honest. Like, I think even when I'm out of the sport, it's going to be like...
That's why getting that equipment and that trade deal was hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. Because it just means so much to you, And you put so much blood and sweat into it. So.
Yeah. So, talking about in competitions at this point, you're always just a hair away from a win. What are you doing to combat that?
Everything in my power, I think. I mean, I think what I'm starting to realize is that after competing for so long, grip is probably always going to be my biggest weakness in the sport.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because of how thick my hands are. I don't know if it's just because, I have like a genetic disposition with grip or something.
Sure.
But I mean, I feel like I have done everything under the sun at this point to just like improve my grip. And I will say, I think this year, the Rainier wasn't it wasn't the greatest example of my grip strength because those farmers were by far the hardest farmers.
They were hard for everybody though.
Yeah.
So even if you did have bad grip,
I know.
No one could tell the difference.
So when by the time we got to that stage of the Rainier, I was in first. And I was leading in first through the whole show. And then when I saw some people going out, and I saw Chris, who's kind of my training partner, in the gym. Yeah. Chris has a pretty good grip. I mean, he's a guy that can pick 400, probably walk with 400 a hand. And when I saw him struggling with that, I was like, oh man, I'm cooked. I was like, in my head, I'm just like, come on, you can do this. But I was like, there was a part of me that was like, I don't know. Yeah, but I will say I got him about halfway down. And the hardest thing about those farmers was you couldn't get your hands to really stick. It was just constantly like a slippage as you're going. So it felt like they were like oily. Like it looked like they were knurled and like they would have good grip. But it felt like when you grabbed onto them.
Some of that machined stuff is just so, I mean, they're beautiful.
Beautiful handles, but they just felt impossible to get, stuck in your hand.
Yeah.
So when I was walking with them, the other thing too is just like trying to find your balance point. It was like one's tilting back
They're
this
full
way,
of chains,
another
right?
yeah.
They're putting chains in them,
So
which is wild for unevenness, you know.
yeah. So I will say grip is probably always going to be my biggest weakness, and
Yeah.
you know, really what I'm doing to combat that now is like, all right, well, you know, I might not ever be, you know, a first place guy that can just go in, and I don't think anybody is now, though, to be honest. I mean, when you go to like shows like the Arnold, the Shaw Classic, any of these like shows that are like where guys are trying to get into those big four now,
Yeah.
there's so many good guys that one little mistake is going to take you off the podium. One little mistake is going to take you out of first.
We've always seen that in strongman, though, on every level.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, and it's just getting tighter and tighter every year, where it's like
Yes,
you have
that's a
these
good
guys
point.
where it's like, I mean, you know, 1 second behind here, one, you know, rep behind on this, and it's like you're losing out on, you know, such a huge opportunity. And there's so many good guys that, in my opinion, do deserve to be at bigger shows like World's Strongest Man on Earth,
Yeah.
the Arnold. But it's like you're just right there on the cusp. And for me, you know, the grip is always probably going to be an issue, but I've realized, all right, if grip is an issue, that just means I have to get really good at everything else.
Sure.
I can't be like, you know, first on log and then 7th on deadlift. I need to be first on log and 3rd on deadlift. You know, those types of scenarios for me are what are going to be able to like get me into the next level and get me to the next show.
That's fair.
So, you know, for me, it was like, especially the Rainier, I knew that after the log, I had won the log, and I knew I have to win the sandbag.
Yeah.
Because if I won the sandbag, it would set me up for deadlift. I knew I wasn't going to win the deadlift. I knew I wasn't the strongest deadlifter there, but if I could take like mid-pack on that, which I ended up taking upper mid-pack, I think, like 5th on that event,
Yeah.
that would keep me in that, you know, elite
Yep.
placing. So, but yeah, I mean,
No, that's true. It's getting so close. You know, athletic efficiency is more important than anything at this point.
Oh, totally. I mean, you have to be athletically efficient. You need to be statically elite. I mean,
Yeah.
when I'm saying elite, I mean most of the guys I feel like that are going to be showing up to the Shaw in the open division, at least the top 10 guys, they're all close to a 900-pound deadlift. They're all 400-pound pressers. They're all 400-pound per hand farmers. They're all guys that can, you know, pick a 350, 400-pound bag and sprint with it. So it's like, you know, everybody is really close in these levels of strength, but then it comes down to like mistakes and effort and
types of shows. They're seeing such a different, you know, World's Strongest Man is branching off to still, they want to be more athletic. It's hard to explain it right, but people know what I mean. Athletically based, where you see where Lucas went this year,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, of course, you don't want to support the local guy,
Yep.
but you see him not make the finals. You're like, well,
Yeah.
but he's a guy who is ready to, I think, is has a good shot to win Shaw this year.
Oh yeah.
You know, with you have Hooper and you know the two guys above him are out,
Yeah.
so there's
Yeah.
no better chance than now. You know,
Yeah.
for that kind of strength versus World's Strongest Man. You know, someone like Reno who won. Is that his name? Yeah, Reno now.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, the dude he's like Hooper but more handsome.
It's yeah. Probably a little bit easier to get along with too.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, Mitch, but I mean, you know, I feel like that's like World's Strongest Man is a totally different show, and we all know that. Like guys that are, you know, in the sport, we all know that like World's Strongest Man doesn't necessarily mean you're the strongest. It means that you're the best at that show.
Yep.
And so you are starting to see these different types of shows like the Arnold, and you know, really totally, I mean, it totally depends on what these promoters are picking for events too.
And some
It's
people
like,
hate it, but I respect that they need to be different. You know, it's cool that Strongest Man on Earth is a more heavy static,
Yeah.
you know, movements. You know, drastically different because that's what he preferred.
Yeah.
You know, when World's Strongest Man was like that, and that's all right. You know, you have to have different types of titles for different types of athletes.
Well, and it's so interesting to me too, because like, I mean, if you even look at like the last Giants live show that Lucas just did, it was like, you know, not necessarily the heaviest show, but interesting events. Like to go from a Hercules hold, I think it was Hercules hold, and then they went into the frame, or it was vice versa. I can't remember what the order was, but it's like to go from one grip event straight into another grip event. It's like, honestly, if you change that event, it totally changes the whole show.
Yeah.
I mean, so, it's like you change one event and like you're going to change an entire podium of that show. And that was, I mean, I don't know if you saw like the podium and the placings and stuff for that show, but it was like, I don't think anybody predicted it to go the way that it did.
Giant slides are interesting. They're always, any competition out of the Royal Albert Hall is always fun to watch. But I don't know, it's different.
And there's so many different elements to these shows.
Seeing Evan finally get something. It's like shaking a stick at a dog and you finally just let him have it.
And he's so good at those shows. I mean, those are his bread and butter
he's
shows.
He's a puppy, He's the Labrador of strongman. Just give him a stick.
You know what? I'll give Evan he's an entertainer.
Yep.
And he brings people to the sport the same way that Eddie did.
And understanding his back where he came from, it makes more sense.
Oh, yeah,
when I first saw him, like, this guy's fucking weirdo. But I'm like, okay, I get it now. I know what he's trying to do.
Eddie,
and I respect that.
Evan reminds me a lot. I remember when Eddie, when he went for the 500 kilo deadlift. Yeah. I remember I was following him on Facebook at the time, and he was posting, just cocky as ever that he's going to deadlift 500. And I remember like people commenting and like just totally ragging on him. And it was just like, I mean, people were pissed off because it's like, it almost like offended people that he was saying what he was saying. But Eddie brought so many people into the sport of strongman.
Yes,
I mean,
he still is.
If you
bringing them in with his new influencer stuff he's doing.
Oh yeah.
People who don't know strongman know Eddie.
Yeah.
More than anyone else.
That's
like, that works. He's growing the sport. We all win.
Totally. Yeah. When you talk to people that are outside of the sport of strongman, they know Eddie
Especially
Hall.
the youth.
Yeah. Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw. If you were to go up and be like, who's Mitch Hooper? Most people aren't going to know who Mitch Hooper is. It's not like no offense to Mitch Hooper. It's just like people know of these guys because Brian and Eddie are both, Brian being a really big, just, monster man that like anybody could watch his YouTube and just, wow, that's, this guy's a giant. It's like, you don't have to know anything about strongman to be reeled into the sport of strongman.
And that's funny. I was just listening. Hooper did an interview with the podcast I follow, the Mark Bell, and so he was in on Mark Bell's podcast, and he talked about that. He's still at the point where he's like, I can walk anywhere, no one knows who I am.
Yeah.
It's weird. He says it's kind of a trip, and you go to a convention, and everyone's trying to get autographs. You're like, oh wait, am I something?
Yeah. I actually listened to that too the other day, and I was like,
I've been following him for a few years. I really like Mark Bell's. He's got a lot of different stuff.
Oh man, Mark. I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole, but Mark Bell was like such a huge inspiration to me as a teenager, and so I've been following his journey forever. But
powerlifting.
But I listened to that podcast with Mitch, and it really gave me like,
cool.
I mean, a lot of people are ragging on Mitch right now in the sport, but Mitch has a really great head on his shoulders.
Yeah, that interview was actually, I think, if more people watch that was positive for him.
Oh man, I mean,
it was a good interview. He talked.
Yeah.
He got a little deeper into stuff that normal people wouldn't tell people.
Yeah,
and that's good. We need to see it. We need to see him vulnerable because he's.
Yeah, I like his perspective. Like I like that he is thinking outside of himself and what other people think of the sport of strongman, of himself, of like how do I catch the attention of these people so that I can bring more people into the sport.
Yeah.
So
I love that. So recently I was looking up your best squats in 805. What are some of the goals you have in your squat and even your deadlift? Since you're saying you're not that good at your deadlift, what do you expect?
What's interesting is I've been a decent deadlifter in the gym. I've never been able to put the pen to paper at competition. I think it's honestly, if I'm looking at it from an honest perspective, it's because the deadlift for me is in a much more emotionally intense lift, where I really have to get myself wired. I have to get myself amped up and like into a different state of mind to get those big numbers that I've achieved in the gym. And it's not like I'm, like a weak deadlifter by any means at shows, but like, I really think that there's been some pounds that I've left off the table in terms of like competition and stuff with the deadlift. But in terms of like gym numbers, I mean, I have things in mind that I would love to do in the gym. Right now, it's more of a matter of fact of like, do I want to be a really good competitor? And do I want to like really focus on the weaknesses that I have going into these shows, or do I want to have like some really cool gym lifts? Because I could kind of like take a break from competing. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, the hardest thing about my prep right now is going straight from the Rainier to the Shaw. It's like I don't really have any time to build strength. I have a lot of like time for carryover strength and like practicing and stuff.
Adjusting to the events.
Yeah, exactly. Like getting used to the events, but it's just not enough time to like, if I really wanted to push my squat to like, let's say 850 or my deadlift to 850, which 850 I will say is the goal this year for my deadlift. Like I'd like to mark that off.
Yeah.
I think that, honestly, if I really wanted to, I could do that with the squat as well. But in terms of squatting, it's like, unless I had like a squat for max at a show or something, it's probably going to be more of an accessory this year for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's lifelong numbers that I would love to hit. And I think, it's like the 500 press has always been kind of intriguing to me. I almost ended up doing Ronnie's show, the Vegas' Strongest Man this year, because he had a press out of a rack.
I didn't know that was his.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I saw it on Iron Podium, I think. I was looking at this stuff.
And it was just such a quick turnaround for me from the Arnold to that. I was kind of dealing with the disc issue, and so it was like, okay, that's going to have to kind of go on the back burner and focus on, the Rainier or something different. But I've got some numbers in my head. Like, I think that it would be really cool to mark off the 500-pound press, mark off an 850 deadlift, and an 850 squat. Yeah. But if I'm being honest with myself in terms of like becoming a better competitor, what I really need to do is like, and what I kind of did for the Rainier was like, all right, I got to practice my transition on sandbag. I got to practice my transitions on stone. I got to practice being a more efficient deadlifter. Yeah. I need to practice being a more efficient, being quicker at the yoke. Yeah. I need to be, so it's those little things. It's like the strength is there to be a really good competitor. Now it's just practicing those little technical things that I need to do to be a better competitor.
That's interesting. I work with my wife. I work as her coach just because she only does it just for fun here and there. But she's a novice. I mean, she weighs, even after the third kid, she weighs 120. But novice lightweights is 165 minus. She's still at a huge disadvantage. And so for her, she has this huge athletic background. Yeah. And so like helping her, it's the transitions. Yeah. When she drops her yoke, I already want her heels on the turn. Yeah. To run back for the sandbag. Yeah. Helping her with that. That's stuff she understood from softball on the levels that she played softball, and transitioning that from a sports, a typical team sport focus. Yeah. You pull that into strongman, and that's why you see like why Hooper dominates like a yoke. Because he's already in a stride position when he lifts. He doesn't lift, brace, and then run. Yep. He lifts on the move. Yeah. And so using the transitionary things like that makes a huge difference. So that's funny. Yeah. I try to work with my wife. I tell her, I said, you're not as strong as those 165 novice girls, but you can be faster.
That's the thing. And that's it's not always the strongest guy that wins these shows. And, you brought up a great point there. Is like Mitch is a guy where if he wanted to, 2 feet in the ground, he could probably be just the strongest guy on the planet, like focusing purely on like a 500 kilo plus deadlift. I bet easily if you gave him a year, he could press 500 pounds. It's just, I think that for guys that are wanting to win, you have to put so much more energy and time into like practicing those transitions in events, practicing like, okay, how I'm going to inch out other competitors on these events rather than like I need to be stronger than this person. I mean, Andrew Clayton is great. I don't know if you know much about Andrew Clayton, but he's a guy that he dominated as a middleweight strongman for so long. Okay. He's kind of gone back and forth between like open and middleweight, but he won the Rainier the last year they did it, so the year before this year. And Andrew Clayton, if you were to look at him statically as a strongman, is not the strongest guy. But that dude studies everybody. I mean, I've had conversations with him, but he studies exactly what everybody's going to do at these shows and how he can inch people out. Like, I need to be 2 steps quicker at this event. I mean, that guy is a technician.
But then for him, that is his strength. So his strength is the detail analytical side. Yep. And exactly. I love that too. And so You got to utilize that the best you can, you know. But like, yeah, good to carry over. You know, you got to be able to the transitions. You know, you see Rogue Invitational last year, they had to push a button after the stones.
Yep.
That threw people off.
Oh, yeah.
But Hooper talked about, all we're doing is talking about Mitch.
Tag him in the post.
Yeah. But, you know, he talked about, it's like, well, if you're told to do that, you just need to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's really no excuse.
Yeah.
Everyone was told the same rules.
Mm-hmm. And Lucas is another great example of that. I mean, Lucas is a guy that is just a
I don't think people realize he's a smart guy.
Oh,
you have a conversation with him, he's not just a...
Extremely intelligent.
He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing.
I mean, I don't know Lucas outside of like our personal friendship, and you know what he's told me, but just like even what he's done in his life and stuff, like it sounded like at one point he had his own business that he kind of went into.
He has a finance degree.
Yeah, I mean, he's really done a lot in his life, but like when it comes to strongman, the dude is, I mean, obviously statically a monster, but you have to be a monster and be technically efficient and have an understanding of like, how do I beat this guy, and this guy? Yeah. Like, you kind of got to do like your film study, just the same way that you would for like a football team or something.
But now everyone almost has to do that, you know? Yeah, when I brought my hammers up and hung out with him for a while, you could tell he was checking. I was having him help me come up with ideas how to lift the hammer.
Yep.
Well, you're the strongest dude I know in the whole state, so help me out. So,
and if there's an easier way of doing something, you know, that's the way that you do it. You know?
Yep.
So,
cool. Kind of move on to the next one. So, I'm going to talk about your pressing. So, just as a coverage, last year in North America's, you hit 455. That was big.
Yep.
Then at Arnold, you hit 458 on a Slater.
Should have been 460, but they changed the numbers on us last minute.
And then just recently, that 440 on the IFSA looked like you really enjoyed that. Wasn't that hard. Was that 455 the big breakaway at North America's? And what are some of those pressing goals?
So at
realistically.
So at North America's, the 455, it was, so in that format, it was a last man standing log, which honestly, if you're to give me the option, I'm always going to choose like last man standing log versus like a 3 attempt log, because I'm a guy, especially on log, like I want to make 10 to 20 pound weight jumps. And
so you have a lot of overhead endurance.
Yeah,
what you're saying.
I for sure do.
Cool.
I'm not a guy that's going to be able to start, like if I have to, I can start out heavier, and that's what we did at the Arnold. But yeah, North America's was a fun experience because like it was a 10-inch log, so not a 12-inch.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, I didn't know that. That makes sense why 455 on that was a bigger deal.
If you're asking me, it all feels the same, to be honest, like in terms of pressing. It didn't feel much different, but I mean, I know some
inch
guys,
off the chest, you know.
Yeah.
Can make a difference.
And you know, I really have more of an Olympic style press than I do anything else. Like I am statically strong overhead, but like my power really comes from the legs, kind of the same way as Lucas. And we both kind of, I feel like, took an interest at an earlier age in like Olympic lifting and stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, that was my, you know, what I feel like has really made me a great presser was my background in Olympic lifting and like building a really good split jerk, a push jerk, push press. And if you watch any of my pressing, I'm always like utilizing the hips, the leg power, and then finishing up top with the shoulder strength. But
that's what I'm trying to work on too. That's cool.
I mean, I think personally, if you want to be a good presser, you're only able to push statically so far. Yeah. So it's like if you can develop these cheat codes like Olympic lifting, I mean, you know, you're able to basically utilize the leg strength, the leg power, you know, and like basically speed to move that weight off of your chest and overhead. Even getting into a catch position. I feel like a lot of guys, they are focusing on, like, you watch them in the gym and it's like they're strict pressing, they're thinking, okay, if I can get my strict press another 10 pounds up, it's like, but there's only so much carryover. If you can develop really good leg power and a great catch, I mean, you could split jerk a log and catch it and probably put like 40 to 50 pounds on your log versus like 5 or 10 pounds just from static strength.
That's fair. And when I was first trained getting into strongman, it was that. Just do static in training because that's what you need to get. And it worked for me as a beginner, but I didn't learn how to properly push press until a couple months ago. Yeah. You know, I had a friend of mine, Skylan. actually show me how, because he's he's phenomenal for his size.
Yeah, and he
he's cutting down.
He's
to
coached
the
by Andrew
230s.
Clayton, I believe.
No, he switched up.
Oh, okay.
He's with Walling now.
But I would imagine Andrew also had kind of an Olympic style press, so he was like split jerking. Axles. I'm sure that Skyland probably developed a lot of like his overhead strength from that Olympic base that Andrew was teaching him.
Yeah, he recently had one where he had it in the rack, but he lifted it out of the rack, so he didn't clean it, and then he walked out and he pressed 400.
Yeah.
So I was really proud of him. On an axle.
That is crazy.
Weighing at 250.
Wow. That is impressive.
I put that because he's one of my sponsored athletes.
I'll have to check that video out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that, but
because I have 2 sponsored athletes I started out with. He's one of them, so I have like a collaboration project with him.
Yeah.
And so that was the video I used for when I announced the collaboration as the first one.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that because that is extremely impressive.
He's cutting down because he's competing at the Jurassic strength.
Yeah.
With as well as I am, but he's not competing in my weight class, which he normally would. He's doing he's cutting down to 105.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I mean, just carrying off of what you were asking me earlier, North American strongest man, it was a last man standing log. So I pressed 455, which actually I was the first person to break their Canadian record.
Okay.
So I think I broke it at 445. I think it was set at like 425 or something.
Yeah.
The Canadians are not great pressers. So it wasn't too hard for us to like set the bar a little higher.
That's funny.
But I mean, they're good at everything else, so.
Surprisingly, they got some guys in it.
So, but after that, of course, it was like, went into the Arnold. I think that was my next, like, max log event. And the cool thing, actually, from the Arnold and the Rainier was I never missed a press. So, like, I did the 458. It was the Arnold. I could get into a long story about what happened at the Arnold, but if you knew about what happened, basically we ended up competing really late at night. It was like
I read about that.
I think it was like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock when we started, and we had to cram 3 events into basically an hour.
Yeah.
So the idea at the Arnold was to go for the American log press, and they were kind of like putting that on paper, like, hey, if you want to go for an American log record or a world log record, like it's going to be up in the air for the show. And Jack Turner, who's a guy out of the UK, he's also a really strong presser. So we ended up tying at 458. So wasn't my best press ever, but I do feel like at that time I had more in the tank.
Yeah, the biggest part of what you said there, though, is the fact that you haven't missed a press in those competitions. So you really don't know where you could go with it. It's a 465 right there for you. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. Because I did miss the 465 at North America's.
Okay.
But I think it was just because it was like, man, I hit 455.
On a 10-inch log, though.
Yeah, on a 10-inch. And I was just honestly, at that time, I was so pumped just to hit 455. I kind of checked out after that.
Not even a 12 or a 14, you know what I mean? That's a big difference.
Yeah, so I know, for me personally, like when we did the Rainier this year, the coolest thing about that max log event was like, I wasn't even looking at what the weights were they were putting on. It was just like, throw whatever on, I'm going to press it. So I had no idea what we were pressing. Like when I was going up to the log, it's just like, I'll press whatever Joel presses. And it was really cool to have a guy that like was pushing me, because I really didn't think anybody was going to push me past 420.
You guys had the widest shoulders in the show. Like, seeing both of you up there, it was like,
and I've got some big shoulders, but Joel's got bigger, sorry, I should say Joel. It's not Joel, but Joel's got bigger shoulders than I do. And it was, when I saw him going from like push and then he added his legs, and I was like, okay, we're going to be good for something big today.
I think he just did a show this weekend in Russia.
Really?
Yeah, I follow him now because he went out and tried out my hammer. Because he goes to the Sweaty Pig.
Yep. Yeah.
He's a really nice guy.
Super cool.
But I follow him now, and we follow each other, and it's like, he's out in Russia. He was posing with Mateos.
Oh, that's cool.
Out there
I think I saw the Mateos picture. I didn't realize he was in Russia.
What the heck? What are you doing, dude?
That's cool. Yeah, Joel is, if you want to know a guy that's coming up that's going to be a pro next year, that's Joel for sure.
He doesn't have his pro card?
He doesn't have his pro card yet. He's been just right at the cusp, I think, this year and last year.
So that's why he's going after some international shows like that.
Yeah, he's really strong. If you were to put that guy in any major show, he'd do fairly well. He's a strong
for his
dude.
height, especially.
Yeah. So statically, I think he probably has some things that he needs to get better at athletically, but statically, he's
understandable.
A really strong dude.
He moves quick though. on the IFSA medley.
Yeah, he's
He moved pretty quick. So
he's a guy I think that surprises a lot of people, and that's the fun thing about the Rainier is like I kind of know who's going to come in and like do something.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of these guys that come in and it's like other people don't know who they are and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And I know, because I know these people and I've been competing against them. It's like, I know that you got stronger this year, so I know I need to get stronger and, just to even try and beat you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Rainier was such a fun one because it was just like, throw whatever on and, it would have been fun to figure out what I could have done that day.
Yeah.
But my focus was on, let's see if I can podium or win the show, So.
Yeah, I get you there. I was one of the people who yelled, when you dropped the stone. I know it's been long enough that we don't, it's not too soon.
And to be quite honest, I don't know if that would have won me the show or not, though. I think it would have been like
I think people were thinking you would have.
Yeah, I think it would have either tied me with Dylan or, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But
exactly.
Yeah, but that's something.
The way Lucas walked up to you and was like,
I know.
And it's like, and then Alec was on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if Brett would have actually gotten some reps on the stone too, it would have just stayed like the placings that we were at anyways. So it was just, I think that's the thing that you see in strongman a lot is like, you have guys that are perfectly capable of doing these weights, but it's these little technical errors that you make where it's like, you over rotate on something or you're just, some of these guys.
What was the guy that passed out? What was his name?
Cody Lindsay. And Cody,
everyone's freaking out. And it just, I was like, well, you passed out, like, at least with the ball not above his head.
Yeah.
Because it would have killed him right there in front of everyone.
Oh, yeah. That's always scary to see. That's like a clinching moment because you're just like, oh,
you got a 400-pound rock and you pass out and it's in the air.
And Cody is so freaking strong, too. Like, that dude's another guy that,
it was explosive on the way up. It was like that first half a second, it's like, oh my gosh. He really, and then it's like, he's stiff.
There's so many guys that show up to the Rainier that are like pro. In terms of like pro capabilities. Yeah. It's like Cody's a guy that could be a pro, that should be a pro. Joel.
Sounds like there's a lot of that out there. I didn't have. I don't know who has their pro card, who doesn't.
And to be honest,
but at that point,
it doesn't really
you see who's competing against you, and you're like, you guys are all there.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are all on the same level.
Yeah, so it's. Each year it's grown, and it's just been. But yeah, the log at the Rainier was a fun one because it's like it was more fun for me than it was anything else.
Yeah.
To see your hammers in a show someday. I think that would be so cool.
That's something I talked about with the guys when I went up to Dungeon Strength is like Ryan and Lucas, they're like, we could see this in a show, no problem.
Oh yeah.
People can
Lucas
find ways
see it in a show. It should definitely be in a show.
That's what made me feel good. That's still, that was my first time ever even filming a video. It was like, well, I got invited up. These guys are a big deal. I want to like actually record things. So that's what's got me into filming now. But when they told me that, I didn't realize that at the time. Like it was a big deal with them inviting me up and doing that. I didn't realize it, but now it's like, wow, like I got to go hang out for 3 or 4 hours, you know, and these guys are telling me I did a great job. And they want to see my equipment in more things. It's like,
I think it's awesome. I think it's like,
feels good.
It kind of rivals like a pressing event. But I think what the coolest thing about it is I think that if you got into like the 200s and stuff, then it's like fighting the clean. Like just getting it to the shoulder.
Fighting the clean, yeah.
It'd be cool still to see the people like, get pressed overhead or whatever, but like I would think that you'd probably end somewhere at like at least 300. I would think.
Ooh. That's something we're talking about with Lucas too, is like, well, 200 would be good to see in a show. 170, that 172 was hard.
I think people could do like 300.
But 150 was a lot easier when I took some weight out of it. But if you learn to pick it up, when we were doing it, with Chris as well, more of the picking it up like a circus dumbbell, with both hands with it in the middle and throwing it up. It's really like it, just the separation of the hand. I want it to be an event. That's all.
The only thing that I think would get a little bit hard is judging the lockout. Like, where is lockout? Is it here? Is it here?
Yeah, I want people to have their right arm locked and their head through.
Yeah, that's why I think you gotta have the head through.
The head has to be if you have your head equal to or in front of your elbow, your lead elbow, I think that's a fair.
And I would love to get my hands on a heavier one because I think you could kind of like get a press here and then get through.
And I kind of do that. I kind of work that because now my bench has gone up.
Yeah.
And I see since my bench has gone up since my my hammer press has gotten better. I've actually can lock it out now because I kind of work that. You work the pecs
chest strength right
and
there.
just use that shoulder control. I've had a good job. I've always had a good job at locking out a press.
Yeah.
Putting my head through. So once you get to the press and just if you can rotate, use those rhomboids, pull everything together.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that would be freaking. I mean, it'd be so cool to see on a show. I would love to see that.
And that's part of the hint we could do in this episode is, running a show in Washington that will include them. Maybe not just even in a press, like I told you before, it's even a duck walk idea. Just have more of my equipment.
Something. I mean, even just like a clean or something, I don't know. I think the clean is the hardest part. Yeah. I think that's where you would start seeing people, like, as you got heavier, really struggling, is getting it to the shoulder. Yeah.
Which is cool, because then you get to learn new ways of doing it.
Because it's kind of like a stone. It's like, you can get it off the ground, but can you get it up to your shoulder? Because it's awkward, it's big, it's heavy, and the heavier you get, the harder it gets.
Saving the energy for the press, too. People will get so wore out getting the clean.
And honestly, it's not like a dangerous event, really, by any means. Like, it's not, you're not, it wouldn't be super hard, or it wouldn't be really easy to, like, damage the hammer.
Some people have tried to say it is dangerous and claim that they had high-end people say things are dangerous, and we're just haters. But if Lucas approves,
it's less dangerous than a lot of other events, though,
if I could sit there and go, it's safer than a block press.
Yeah.
I mean,
block presses
if they can do block presses at OSG safely, then I can do this.
And I freaking love block press, but it sucks to actually see it in shows because it's like a Viking press. Like, it's like these different types of presses that people get away with a little bit of cheating, and it's like, how many times have you seen a Viking press on a show that's no double dipping and you still see the double dipping? It's
even like that, it's hard. Yeah, that's a whole 2017 controversy.
And same thing with like a block press. You got guys that are like locked here, and they're not overhead.
It's not mobile enough. It's like
come on. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the line?
Yeah.
So that's. Yeah, you see that a lot, and that's why I think that when you do see some of these standardized like lifts and stuff, it's like I kind of like that because I still really like the odd lifts and stuff, but sometimes you see people get away
within
with
the same. Yeah, that's why I like with the hammer, we're looking at a single arm press, which is a key point in strongman.
Yeah,
but in a different method with a secondary hand to help drive things, you can go to higher numbers.
Yeah,
you can safely throw it down out of the way.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's never been done before as an event like that. They've done hammers for front holds.
Yeah,
but why? I don't know why they just never thought to put it in a press.
I think it's great.
I did.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, we got some, like I said, heavier ones being built right now. So
that's awesome.
All right, so we're going to kind of move into just a couple fun questions for the end. So what's the favorite piece of equipment you've ever used so far in competition?
Phew, that's tough.
We care. I mean, you also care about iconic stuff.
In competition?
Yeah.
Man, I got to think on this for a second.
I know a lot of people would think, sure, the IFSA stuff that they just use at Rainier, that's important.
Yeah, I will.
Touching stuff at North America's, that's important.
Yeah, I think the stuff at North America's was all really interesting because a lot of that's kind of historic as well.
Yep.
I mean, they've been using it on their circuit forever. It wasn't my favorite because it was all really challenging the same way the IFSA equipment was.
Yes.
But if I had to pick, I actually want to say Jeff Stone's because they were so beautifully made. I mean, I was so worried about like not the actual shouldering part of it, but just grabbing it and being able to stick with just hand or just with a tacky spray. And they were so well coated and sealed that wasn't an issue at all.
Yeah, it was funny when they were rolling him out on stage and he was out there. I messaged him while he's out there. I said, dude, those balls look really good in person. Like, I said, I hope nothing happens. And I see him out there. He pulls out his phone and he's like, I'm so nervous. Like, he doesn't want anyone to break
They're beautiful. And I felt bad dropping the stone the way I did too. Because I was like, after I thought about it, I was like, damn, I could have broken that stone. But I mean, we had enough padding, I think.
Sure.
That, but yeah, I will say Jeff's stones were really cool. I love Andrew. I don't know who made that Viking press. Because originally that was a Viking press that we used at Oregon Strongest Man.
Those ones?
And then
because those are from Dungeon Strength, like in their gym, right?
Yeah, but I believe that Lucas bought them from Andrew. So I don't know who Andrew got them from.
Okay.
I think he told me at one point, but I don't really remember now. But those are really cool too. I mean, they're just they're a fun Viking press. Like you see a lot of Viking presses are like 500-pound Viking press. It's like, it's not really 500 in the hands. Those are true for what they told us. It was 330 per hand, I think, on those Viking press.
It's hard.
Totally true to form.
It's just like when I get, it's cringe when people are, they talk about their leg press numbers.
Yeah.
Every machine's different. Like
totally.
They're like, you're saying, like, if you talk to someone, just on a side note, like, if you ask someone, if you want to know if someone knows if they know a lot about lifting or not, ask them what their leg press is. And if they give you any number, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because no one keeps track of that.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah. Each piece of equipment's different. They have different leverage points.
Yeah. So if I had
that's
to
like
pick,
saying a car deadlift. Well, it depends on the car that's on it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. But yeah, if I had to pick, I would say Jeff Stones, that Viking press.
Yeah.
The IFSA log was really cool. It was a really beautifully made log, and the IFSA equipment in general is just like, you look at like the time and energy they probably put into making those and stuff, and the fact that there's been so many legends that competed on those pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what I would want to do, I definitely want to do something big on a Slater log someday.
Okay, that was the next part of that question. What equipment have you still dream of trying?
Yeah, totally a Slater log. I would love to do a natural stone the way that they did at the Arnold years ago, where it was the stone to shoulder. And
they did one of that like last year?
I think 2 years ago. I think so, yeah. Like, you remember the year that Kioskowski, or how do you say his name? Yeah. So that was the year that kind of put him on the map, was where he did like 3 reps or 4 reps on that stone to shoulder.
Yep.
And then, everybody else was like struggling to get one. And so I would love, because I love natural stones. Like, I mean, for so long we'd go out with my friends and like, we go camping and just go find the biggest stones that we could move and shoulder. I really feel like that's what I'm really good at, is like just picking up big odd objects and like shouldering them, pressing them.
Athletic side, Yeah. So for you, I mean, you're a log guy, so even Austrian oak.
Yeah.
Would be something cool you'd like to do.
The Austrian oak would be really cool. I mean, I guess I've already been on the Slater a couple times with the Rainier.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
With the Arnold, but yeah, the Austrian oak would be cool. I really want to get another go at the what is the dumbbell called again?
The Sear
dumbbell. Because I believe, so the one that JF Carone has up at North America's Strongest Man, I believe
where Lucas broke the record for pressing.
I want to say that's a replica.
Yeah. A lot of them are.
So, but it was like one of the first replicas, I think. And so I would love another go at that one, because it was just
even replicas are getting popular. I mean, for a prime example is the nickel stones.
Yep.
Versus the Denny stones. Like, people want to be able to lift both now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They don't even, it's not just the Denny's anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you could also say the Thor hammer, in a press. That's one you want to do in a competition.
Oh, man. For sure. I would love to just see that at a competition. I think it would be really fun. And I think that if you actually got some really strong pressers, or just guys that are great at shouldering things, you would see some really big numbers like on a hammer. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
I really think so.
That'd be the day.
Yeah.
Whoever's got deep enough pockets, let me know. Steel isn't cheap.
No.
So what is a fitness goal, non-strongman related, that you want to attain?
Oh, man.
Other than maybe tying your shoes.
Yeah, that would be nice. Shout out to my girlfriend Christine for always tying my boots
everywhere.
For me. Yeah. It is, I would say, for me, when I get done with the sport of strongman, I just want to look good again. Like, I want to,
get the aesthetics. A lot of guys transfer to that after strongman.
Yeah, I want to be able to take the shirt off, go to the beach, and feel good about myself. Because honestly, like, for me, I know if I were to, focus on that, I'd be sacrificing so many, pounds for strength. Like, it's just not attainable for me to be like a lean guy and strong at the same time.
You see the strongman transition that afterwards because they have the mass.
Yeah.
All they have to do is cut. Terry Hollins, that's why he was able to look as cut as he did after.
Yeah.
And even Big Laws recently.
Yeah, Laws.
He cut a lot of, him and his wife both really cut.
Yeah.
They look 10 years younger.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Joe Stoll at all, but I just saw a video of him on Instagram. I'm like, dude, I mean, and he's still getting stronger and stuff, but he really took like some time to lean out. And I was like watching the video, I'm like, geez, man, he's looking jacked. I mean, so, I would love to be able to like take my shirt off and just feel comfortable about my body again.
That's
I don't feel like I look horrible right now, but
I get you.
You definitely have to put the strength before physique.
That's
if you want
funny.
to be
Going into
strong,
getting into weightlifting, I was just trying to be better because I was at a position where I couldn't get off the floor by myself and I couldn't reach in time. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so working out, the funniest thing is I'm heavier now than I was when I started working out.
Yeah.
But I can do all those things plus.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's
there's still a bit of flexibility in strongman that's necessary, that if you're a big guy who wants to be able to be, you can be athletic enough for everyday best way to explain that, you can be a big guy and you can still, like, strongman teaches you to be able to get things, like, you can reach your toes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these big guys are able to reach over a boulder.
Yeah.
It's surprising, and I hope it would push more heavy dudes who don't do anything to try the sport out.
Yeah, totally.
So here's a fun one I ask everybody. If you could only go to one restaurant for an entire month to hit all of your macros, where would you go?
Oh man, so there's a place over by the gym called Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
And they're a hibachi.
I watched
grill.
a YouTube video of them.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I was watching Spokane food stuff.
Okay.
And I was looking at little restaurant ideas around here.
I mean, you got
Little
fried
Tokyo.
rice, egg, steak. They have really good boba. I don't know
all
if
the
you like
protein
boba
choices.
cheese.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that would be, if I had to get like all my macros.
That's pretty specific. That's good.
It would either be that or I would just go like Panda Express or something, because
fudge.
if I was really trying to be like healthy or something, like
Panda
that's kind of
Express
my go-to actually
be
when
healthy.
I travel for shows.
Sure.
Is like I'll just get like the chicken and rice bowls from Panda because it's easier.
Their grilled chicken bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, for me, I always tell everyone it's always Chipotle.
Oh yeah.
I could get a Chipotle burrito, double meat, and sour cream on that thing. Oh,
My hardest thing with Chipotle is I just feel like, man, I can get so much more if I were to just like make my own burrito for the price. But it is convenient,
And they have a nutrition breakdown when I build like my burritos, so I know it's like, okay, there's 50 grams of protein in this burrito.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, Chipotle is a good spot.
Man, making me hungry again. So if you could go pro in anything other than strongman, what would you have wanted?
Oh, I would go for the money. I would have been like in the league for sure. I mean,
Football guy, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you see a lot of the guys that like what people don't realize is like there's a lot of really good guys in the sport of strongman. Like we've got some really genetic elite, guys at the top. But if you were to take some of these guys from like the NFL over to the strongman, and you were
We're glad they don't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. If you were to just raise them in a strongman gym or something, I mean, and there was actually money to be made in the sport, like there's
Big
money.
Alabama boys that would wipe us all out.
Oh, totally. I mean, just completely obliterate the guys that like, everybody that thinks they're strong would be absolutely
It's
nothing.
like we're almost thankful that there is no money in this sport.
Yeah,
because
it's a niche
they
sport
would all
for
be
a
here.
reason. Yeah. And that's the thing is you have so many guys that go into like the league, into the NBA that like that's where the money is. And there's never really been a whole lot of money to be made in strongman, but there's been some people that have capitalized on it.
Sure.
So.
But then, and that brings in kind of the whole mantra in strongman is people aren't in it for the money, they're in it because they have a heart for it.
Yeah.
So when we talk about famous equipment or stuff that has lore behind it, everyone in the sport actually cares about it, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be in the sport anyways.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
I wanted to have a group of guys go to Iceland with me and hit up Thor's gym and go hit the Husafell, the Drittvik stones, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think that's I mean that's at the core of all of us is like,
Yeah.
we started it because we loved it and because it gave something to us,
Yeah.
you know, like for me, it was like, man, I was always like kind of struggling with depression. I was always kind of struggling with like who I am. And when I got into the gym and I was like, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at school. I'm not good at like talking
Yeah.
to women, but I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And it's something I can get really good at. And it was like, for me, that's like where the love started with strength and strongman. And it's like, I don't necessarily tie myself just directly to strongman as like, I'm just a strongman.
Yeah.
But I like to tie myself to like the world of strength where it's like, no matter what, like I'm going to be like, even when I'm that 60-year-old guy that's broken down, like I want to be in the gym still pushing myself.
It's
because
like
it's,
Oda Hagen, you know.
because it's what I love.
Otis is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Ode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, people like that, you know, the old guys and you know, coming from, I guess, back to that of our childhood, wrapping it all back around, you know, being the chubby boy, everyone wanted you, like, no, an athlete is skinny.
Yeah.
And then we go into a sport where it's acceptable and healthy to even be big. You know, they can find ways in it, and you can walk around knowing, I don't care, I'm not the skinniest guy at the beach, but I can outlift anybody here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's...
Went out to Silverwood last week, and I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
I feel like I'm the strongest guy here.
I've been wanting to go so bad. Just kind of like disappointed though, because it looked like they changed their hours. I'm like, man, there's no way you could get like...
No, they open at
enough
11.
Yeah. I was
I'm like, how the hell?
you can't get everything in that amount of time. Yeah.
So thank you guys. Check us out at strongdadapparel.com. And of course, check out Zach at, what's your at for like Instagram?
Strongman Zach on Instagram and TikTok.
TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.